Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Parenting Toolbox TV. Thank you for joining us. And I'm really thrilled today to introduce Vanessa Frater-Robertson. Now, I've met Vanessa a couple of times, and Vanessa is a confidence coach, which is fascinating. We'll learn more about that in a minute. But Vanessa's award-winning international speaker who I've heard speak on numerous occasions and is fabulous. And she's also a wife and a mum of 2 boys. So juggling all the things that us mums have to do. And Vanessa specialises in coaching mompreneurs, femalepreneurs to help develop an action plan for a guilt-free lifestyle. Now that sounds fascinating, the guilt-free lifestyle, doesn't it, Vanessa? So I'd love you to tell us a little bit about yourself and where you got to where you are now.
Hi, Jane. Well, first of all, I'd just like to thank you and Liz for inviting me to the panel today. I'm so excited about this conversation, so I'm glad to be here.
Good to have you here.
Thank you. So to answer that question, it's such a big question, is it? Oh, that interview question, tell me about yourself. And you think, but just to say, I think it's because of my background. I was a communication consultant and I was doing really well. I enjoyed it. And there's still things I do with that. But I got to a point where I thought, asking myself the question, is this all there is to life? Is that maybe there's something more? And I had some things happening in my personal life that completely shredded my confidence, and I felt like I was on the ground. I thought, how am I going to claw myself out of this? And through trial and error, personal development, going for courses and talking to mentors and coaches, I was able to bring myself back to myself and then also take those steps to go towards the success I wanted. So based on my personal experience and the breakdowns and breakthroughs that I had, I started to think, well, there must be other people that think the same way as me. There might be other people going through particular situation in life where they've got so many things that they're juggling, or had something happen to them that they feel like that defines them, something bad that's happened in their experience. They think, oh, well, I failed, or this happened to me, or I had this trauma, therefore that is who I am. And it's not. And it's helping those people out of that hole and giving them the tools and techniques to go towards their ideal life or what success looks like for them. And it isn't an overnight thing. It does take a little bit of time. Some people can go at a snail's pace. Some people can go at lightning pace, but it's giving yourself that permission and grace and ease to take the time to do what's right for you. And it's a passion that's been growing and grown and grown inside me. I feel like I'm birthing something now to help other people to get the true impact that they want in their lives. So I think that's what it is, wanting to help other people who've been in a similar situation to me and show them that you can control your narrative and get what you want to do.
I love it. I love this so much. And Vanessa, thank you so much for coming on. I have been so looking forward to talking to you because we do communicate digitally, don't we? We see each other.
Do a lot.
We're in the same community as well, the same business community with Jane and Angela Roth and Vicky Hugler. But because I know you specialise in working with mums in particular, and mums who have started their own business.
That's right.
And that is exactly who I am at the moment. And not at the moment, that's what I do.
That's who you are.
But the difficulty I am having, because I'm finding the first, and I don't know, Jane, you might agree with this, the first flourish of any business, it's like giving up something or taking up a new habit. You've got so much dopamine, you've got the momentum going, you're on a high, and it's jazz hands all over the shop. It's November, so I know that this in the back of my head, we've got the sad season. It's dark, the clocks have gone back. It's sunny today, but my goodness, did it rain this week. So I was on an all-time low with that. So we've got that thrown into the mix as well. But what I'm finding is there seems to be a slump. And I feel, as a mompreneur, if I can use the phrase that you use when you work with those clients like me, I feel that it's really difficult to keep that momentum and passion, which I have, going, but also be present for the kids. and be able to do all the mum duties and juggle all the things like remember the dancing and remember the football practice and who's got what kit tomorrow and parents' evening and all of that. And I at the moment, I'm feeling as we approach December and the Christmas fun and games, I'm just feeling a little bit burnt out. Is this normal?
Absolutely, 100%, 1,000,000%, however, trillion percent, absolutely 100% normal. I think it's like we get to this time of the year and you might start to find that you start beating yourself up. I should have done so much by now.
Yeah.
Oh, I've only got a few more weeks left of the year. And you're seeing all these posts going, yeah, get ready. And oh, how are you going to? And I'm all for those posts to help people get ready. But if it's starting to make you feel overwhelmed, it's like I say to people and folks, breathe.
Yeah.
That's first and foremost, breathe. And bring yourself back into yourself and just breathe and do it a few times during the day. Literally breathe.
Because we're only in this moment, aren't we? And that's all we can. Yeah.
All you can guarantee, absolutely, Jane, I totally agree with that. You're only in this moment. You can't guarantee tomorrow. And you can't change the past. So if you're getting frustrated about what's happened, you can't change it. We haven't got time machines to go back. And if you're getting anxious about the future, you're like, oh, but I've got to do this. You're not in the present. Whereas you find you're most calm when you're in the present. So that's why breathe, get yourself back to yourself and look at, right, okay, what have I actually achieved? Write it down so it makes it real to your subconscious. Write down all the things you actually have done, because you'll find I about 9 times out of 10 you've done more than you think.
I love that tip. I'm writing this down to remind myself,
because we're so harsh on ourselves, aren't we?
We are.
We really are worst critic when it comes to what's got done, what's not been done, you know, where I want to be going in life, you know, all these things, which again, you know, when we look at our identity, you know, as a mum, we tend to get pigeonholed. You're a mum, you know, which is the job in the world, the hardest job in the world. But sometimes we have more ambition or a bit of an aspiration to do something else and to break out and maybe set up our own business or do something, as you know, we're all finding setting out on these. What advice would you give, Vanessa, for someone who is at that stage thinking, I love being a mum, it's great what I'm doing, but what about me? There's a bit more that I want to be able to offer.
I think the very first stage there, you know, after you breathe, that's probably the second stage, after you breathe, is to think about your purpose. Think about all your why or your passion, whatever word resonates with you the best. What do you actually like to do? What actually lights that fire within you? What do you feel confident that you could speak about for like 15, 20 minutes without any notes? Because that will give you an idea of the things that you love. You know, don't think about, oh, that's going to be my business, that's going to be this. Just think about something that you could speak about with no notes for about 15, 20 minutes. Think about 3 or 4 subjects and look at those subjects and go, I know a lot about that. I know a lot about that. I'm really confident about that. I need to know more about that. But yes, I can speak about it for 15 or 20 minutes, because then you'll probably find there's a kernel of your passion in there that you could either grow, or it's something you're already doing already that you haven't given enough attention to, or it's something you can grow and develop. So I think looking at your purpose and understanding what floats your boat, what lights your fire, that's that passion that will get you through the sad season. Is that passion and purpose that will drive your commitment and also your discipline. Because when it's all cold and horrible and rainy outside, you can't just rely on motivation. Motivation is great. When we go to all these personal development things, it's wonderful, but it will not see through those dark moments when you don't want to get up and work out, when you don't want to meditate, when you don't want to do this, when you don't want to do that. Your commitment and your determination is driven by your purpose, your passion, and what truly drives you. And that's the advice that I give to any mompreneur or female entrepreneur out there who's thinking of either changing, developing, growing, scaling. Look at what really drives you, because on those days when motivation has gone out the window and you really need to go into your commitment and dedication and determination, that's what you need to look at. Your purpose, what drives you. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. And that's what's got me to where I am. That's what I feel. That's what got me out of teaching and into creating the business. But you know, the thing that trips me up every single time, because I am passionate and I'm driven and I love positive psychology and I love sharing the gold.
Yeah.
But it's the mum guilt.
Yeah.
The mum guilt every single time, Vanessa. And I know we all have it, don't we, Jane? Because we
absolutely.
I do.
Absolutely.
But it's that juggling act where when I worked in a full-time job or a part-time job, or and I was able to be a mum, and I was able to say very clearly, these are my boundaries. I leave at 3:30. I come home. I'm a mum. That's when, and I do my work in the school. Now I feel it bleeds into everything. So
yeah,
it's that guilt. It's that guilt.
It is that guilt, because I find when I talk to my clients, when they're at work, they feel like they are not being the significant other, they're not being the mum, and they feel guilty because their attention is there. And then when they're at home and doing that, I haven't done enough work, and and it does bleed across. So there is a little bit of discipline there that's needed in terms of scheduling your time. And I think I wrote a post a couple of days ago for my socials, and I even put it on TikTok. I'm a TikToker, guys.
Yeah. Love it. I love
it. I put it on TikTok as well, and to help mompreneurs and female entrepreneurs understand some of the 5 biggest mistakes you make when planning your time and planning your days.
This is what I need. I need you.
All right, so this is what I'll do. I'll do this for you, all for you, Liz, and for those who are watching. It's like overcommitting. That's the biggest one. The biggest one. Number one, overcommitting. If you overcommit what you're going to do in a day or a week, it will then be the hammer that hits you and makes you feel guilty that I didn't do all this and I didn't do all that. You've overscheduled, overcommitted yourself. So it's about being realistic. Big word, be realistic about what you can do in a day and in a week. Now, if you don't get done everything that you've done, you think you can do in a day, spread it out through the rest of the week and just reshift things, reframe things. It's okay. Yeah. So that's the one.
And sorry. No, I was going to say the other thing to add in is that we're not very good at saying no, are we?
No. And we're not, are we? And sometimes, setting boundaries, that's one of the other things is about self-care, because self-care isn't just about bubble baths. I love bubble baths, by the way. But self-care is about setting up healthy boundaries.
Yeah.
And one of those healthy boundaries is about saying no to the things that you can't do. If you can't do it, don't say, yeah, okay, I'll do it, and feel like the victim, because then you're just going to feel frustrated. So sometimes no is a complete sentence.
I like that.
Yeah. And we don't have to explain. We don't have to explain.
No. I like never explain. I do say that a lot, actually. Don't make excuses and don't explain. You don't have to.
Yeah.
So, and as women, we tend to do that a bit.
We do. We explain ourselves. We're always saying sorry. And that's why I love that book. Girl, quit apologizing. It's like, stop.
It's so true. It's so true. And it's so important. And I do say that to students. I'm sure you do as well, Jane, when you're working with teens. Because we weren't told that as teens, were we? We weren't told that as young people.
No. It's having that voice as well, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
We've been so conditioned, haven't we? We've been so conditioned to a point where sometimes we don't even know we're doing it. We don't know that we're enabling everybody around us, so that we are getting so drained because we're serving from in our cup, and our cup's not even running over anymore. It's running dry, and we're on fumes, and we're desperately trying to help everybody else. And it's like, fill yourself up, look after yourself, do your self-care, do your healthy boundaries, and then you can help everybody else. It's that, I know it sounds like a bit of a cliche now, but I still agree with it. It's like when you're on an airplane, they put your oxygen mask on first. And a lot of my other coach colleagues say the same thing, because if you're running on empty and you're going into burnout and you're falling down, who can you help? You can't help yourself. and you can't help your family, and you can't help your clients. So that's a lose situation. So you have to look after yourself.
Yeah, you do. And it's about helping yourself and not spreading yourself too thinly as well, isn't it? It's because then you're not getting the best out of anything really. So focusing and
Do you recommend anything like time boxing or any type of scheduling type of process? You know, I say time boxing. I don't know what it means, but I know that the diary of the CEO talks
time
about
blocking.
Time blocking. See, I got it wrong.
Time blocking. That's all right.
It's because of all the podcasts I listen to, which you were all telling me that I've got to do a million things and, you know, live like a titan and all the rest. All the alpha males who tend to promote these things. Sorry, alpha males, but it's true.
You know what? If that floats your boat and that is your personality, and that makes, because I made the mistake once. I was coaching somebody and she was talking about how she was doing this deadlines and she was going for this and she was feeling this, and I said, oh well, let's look at how we can not do that. And she turned around and said, no Vanessa, no, that actually drives me. I love having the deadline. So that was a lesson to me to not assume that something that I was hearing was a bad thing, because for some people that drives them, but for a lot of people that makes them feel overwhelmed and they don't want that. So it's a question of looking at that. But time blocking, I think, is really, really helpful, and I do that. Some people use the Pomodoro technique, which is if you've got your time blocked out and you know what blocks of things you're going to do and themes you're going to do the day, you got it. There you go. So you know, you 20 minutes of work and have a 5-minute break, 20 minutes of work and 5 minutes break, because those little often breaks tend to re-energize you. They tend to get rid of the brain fog. They tend to make you be more creative. So it's always helpful if you can do that. If you can get outside if it's not raining and torrential rain and get a bit of fresh air, that helps as well. So yes, I do. Time blocking is really good. And also the Eisenhower matrix, which you might be aware of, the urgent versus important, because as women, one of the things that we do, we tend to look at all the urgent, everything's hitting us, let's get all the urgent done, let's get the I's dotted, the T's crossed, and perhaps then that stops us from looking at the important tasks, which are the income generating tasks, or to be even more successful, because we're doing all the busy stuff and missing out on those really important things that will move the needle. So
I love that. Can you, what's it called? The Eisenhower, I know it because I know it from Stephen Covey's work, but it's what's the actually, if we Google it,
Eisenhower matrix. That is the all urgent versus important matrix. Most people say urgent versus important matrix, but it's the Eisenhower matrix.
Love it.
It's also looking at what you know, what do we think is important, you know, because what actually versus what's actually and what we think is, and it's weighing things up as well, isn't it? Because we get caught up into that trap of, you know,
I think the difficulty there is when you're a new business and you're trying to hustle. Sometimes I feel like I have to hustle them to feed the kids, and that's when I feel overwhelmed, because it's like, is this important? Am I going to be able to use this as a stream of income? What is a stream of income? How can so it's that constant kind of treadmill that I for me, I know that keeping my self-care is absolutely tantamount. And I like this morning, I knew when I was feeling really bogged down the past few days, and I really was, I made myself get up. I rejigged the kids so that their father dropped them to school, and I went dipping with my friends in the sea because I knew there was
brilliant. I love that.
So I just took myself away. It was freezing cold, but we had the most beautiful sunrise, and it was fun. But I knew I was very close to saying no. I was very close to rejigging it and just saying I'll do the school run, come home, do the commitments. But then sometimes I feel guilty for that, because I think, I could have really got this done and that done, and you know, things to do with the business.
Like, it's exactly what you just said, but self-care is really important.
Because
if you get so depleted, you're no use to yourself, you're no use to your kids, you're no use to your significant other, you're no use to your clients, and that's not helping anybody. So it's, I mean, ask me how I know.
Yeah.
It's like that, you know, that not looking at your self-care. You know, for me, it led to a breakdown. For me, it led to different things and getting burnt out. And I recognize those signs in my body now when I'm like, oh, I'm approaching it like, okay, let's put the brakes on a little bit, go and have a break, make sure that I'm looking after myself so that I'm still happy and healthy, but not just myself, my family and my clients. And I've got that vitality to show up as the best version of myself. So it's so important, self-care and those boundaries. So important.
And not putting yourself second.
Yeah, and not putting yourself second. One of the other things that can happen is, you're talking about being bogged down. It's like two of the other things I was looking at is prioritization as well. It's like prioritizing the things that you're doing as well, because if there's no prioritization and there's no delegation as well, that was one of the other tips I said to people, that a lot of mompreneurs and female entrepreneurs, they get into that trap of not delegating because they want to be the superwoman and they think that I can do everything and it's a sign of weakness to ask for help. No, it's not.
And also that element of control as well, isn't it?
I like
recognizing that, you know, we can't do everything, and actually we don't need to control everything. Putting your trust in other people. You know,
because we're not control freaks at all. No.
None of us. Completely not. No. But
also give yourself a break. That was the last tip I was saying in the post, was give yourself a break, give yourself that grace and ease. Yes, it's important to schedule. Yes, it's important to schedule for success, because without scheduling, you're planning to fail, as you know, as we all know, right? But within that schedule, I think it's about flow and healthy ratios and understanding that emergencies happen, life happens, a school could call you, you might have to take your kids to the hospital or whatever that could be happening, is to give yourself that grace and ease to have enough flex in your schedule that you can move things around. So that was the other thing as well to leave with people. So I
love that, the flow.
Some great tips. I am definitely going to spend some time, I think probably about half an hour. I'm going to sit outside with a cup of tea because the sun is out today. I'm going to get my vitamin D, and I'm going to think about how far I've come from this time last year, because I think I love that tip, because I think when we feel that we are bogged down in the quagmire of stress and juggling, that I sometimes find myself thinking, oh, do you know what, it'd be just easy to just go and get a job, when that's not what my passion is, and that's not why I left the role I was in. So I think that I love that tip, because then that's going to help me to create a springboard to do the scheduling, to do the delegating, to do the time blocking or boxing or pomodoroing, or, you know, I think that's fab.
Whichever one works for you, because everybody has a different kind of meld, and you do have to play around with it a little bit to see what fits you and is right for you. Because there's tons of tools and techniques out there, but the key thing is look at the one that works for you, test it out a little bit, tweak it to what fits you, and then go with that.
That's such good advice. And also, Liz, the belief. Keep the self-belief there. You know, we tend to doubt ourselves, and you know, we can have all these strategies in place, but it's that self-belief. It's back to that confidence, isn't it, Vanessa? Confidence in yourself, and just making sure that that's, you know, on tap. I don't know if anybody's got any questions for Vanessa here. We're asking all the questions into the groups to see if anybody's got any questions, and also contacting Vanessa through Facebook or LinkedIn. Please do. These tips are incredible. Really useful.
I think that self-belief piece, Jane, I love it, because it ties in with what you said, Vanessa. You know, when you go back and you actually see how much progress, and there's a meme that goes around, something like, you know, the person who the person who you were 5 years is thanking you for who you are today, or something like that. And that to me really resonates, because if you look back to where you were 5 years ago or 10 years ago and think about where you are, and it is so easy to lose that belief. We're very good at instilling belief in others, but I think we need to be believing mirrors for ourselves, for each other. And I think that's why little conversations like this and what we do on LinkedIn, because we do post a lot on LinkedIn. And I think for us, for me personally, when I post on LinkedIn, I love engaging in everybody else's posts because I come away enriched. You know, definitely on a Monday and a Thursday when we all post together, I always feel I've come away and I've learned something new. So that's why I knew I'd love talking to you, Vanessa, and I've really enjoyed your tips and just
incredible.
It's a bit like rocket fuel, isn't it, Jane?
Yeah. I know. I love it. I could go on and on and on. In fact, we were talking. I've loved it. Really missed the sort of right. We've got a link on now, but Vanessa, we'd love to have you back at some point.
I'd love to. If you'll have me back.
There's been so many tips here today, but I love the flow. Be realistic, setting yourself, you know, that guilt-free. There's just so many takeaways from this. But Liz, what's your favorite takeaway?
100% the reflection. 100% to go outside. Now, you know that I write every day. I do the morning pages, and I'll talk about that in a later episode. But one of the things that I sometimes do, because morning pages is just kind of mental puke. It's a form of like
journaling, not mental puking. Yeah.
It's just like, whereas I think when you sometimes have more of a focused writing prompt, like how far have you come? So what I'm going to do, Vanessa, is I'm going to sit outside, as I've said, have a cup of tea, and I'm going to think about where I was this time last year, where I was this time 5 years ago, and where I was this time 10 years ago. And just do a reflection which will show me and remind me so that I can latch onto that belief that you were talking about, Jane.
Absolutely.
Do you know what? This is actually, it's okay. This is part of the journey. You're going to have Novembers in your business. That's the way
it's every year, darling.
Every year.
Yeah, what's that all about? You didn't get that memo.
No.
And something else, I wasn't going to say this, Liz, but something I do tend to do myself at this time of year. I don't wait until January to reframe and review and rejig my plans. I look at round about this year. I do that review, do that reflection. But I also think to myself, if in 5 years' time, I have got what I wanted, what does my ideal life look like? I look at that and I write a page to myself as well. So if it's in a 5 years time or in a year's time, and I'm looking back, I've achieved this and I've achieved that. I see that as a really good way to give me that momentum to say, what else do I need to put in my planning in order to make that reality? So it's about looking back about where you want to give you that confidence, because you get the capability and the confidence, and it tells your brain that yes, you've done this, and you get that greater confidence. But also then looking forward and saying, right, if I pretend it was a year ahead, what have I achieved? What have I done? What have I been successful in? That gives you that forward momentum to decide what do I want to put in my planning. So that was just one little other thing.
I love that visualization of and that's a great thing to do with your kids as well, isn't it? Especially teenagers. It's like, let's focus on some future here and where you see your life going. But Vanessa, thank you so much for joining us. It's been inspirational and heartwarming. So
thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. I've had a brilliant time.
It's been fun to meet you, and hopefully I'll meet you in the person
in real life.
Absolutely.
But in the meantime, Jane, thank you for organising everything, and
we'll see you again in 2 weeks' time.
Lovely. So lovely to see you.
Thank you.
Bye everyone. Bye everyone. Thanks for tuning in.